Going 3, 2, 1, and we are streaming because I'm pretty sure no one else is using their internet right now. On account of everyone's watching something about owls. I think you said, right?
Something.
The big grand owl or something.
Some kind of superb owl. I don't know, but I mean, I've been looking around. I haven't seen anything out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
I saw a car.
Got to look
saw
out the
cardinal
window
earlier today.
in Miami, I think.
Yeah, right. I saw a cardinal earlier today. I mean, that's kind of a bird. Like, that's
That's
a
a good
bird.
bird.
It's a nice bird.
All right, there we go. Again, post this on the Facebook page too. Let everyone else know what's going on. I'm already getting blown up with notifications. See how everyone's doing. And then I gotta share it on the phone because I otherwise don't do well with that. It's the portion of social media that baffles me. All right. Oh, and Miss Christine is already in. Christine's like our super fan.
Oh yeah.
All right. She's here for the pre-show action over here in our deep, sexy radio voices. Ain't that right, Justin?
Oh yes.
All right. Hey,
the deepest.
Hey, by the way, do you have like a channel or anything like that? Do you have like a channel or like a Facebook group or anything like that?
No. I am very lazy, and when I have time, I'm either writing something or I'm playing something of the Blizzard variety.
Oh, that works too. That works too. Okay, good deal. I wasn't sure if you had like a guild or something like that you wanted to promote. I wanted to go ahead and kick that into the comment section if anyone was interested.
Not really. I mean, I guess if you wanna I could toss my company's URL if you want.
Oh sure, yeah.
Yeah, that's just trek.com, trekk.com.
All right.
If you click on Teams, you can see my awesome portrait. It involves
Nice.
a tiny Nintendo and me screaming at it.
Shoot, we should have got that for the profile picture right there.
I think I'm kidding. I'm not.
That would have been pretty great actually. Here, let me go ahead and get this rolling over here. I'm gonna go ahead and put up the picture. I gotta put up the same picture I had earlier again on Instagram now. So there we go. All right, and then if you want to let any family or friends know that you're going to be on a small YouTuber's channel just for the next hour, kind of shooting the breeze and all that, that'll be pretty great.
No one that hold on a second. I could put it on the Twitters.
All right, there
I
we
have
go.
a tweet.
Get it on the Twitter sphere right there. Actually, I might do the same thing here. There we go. We live, fam. There we go. I think we got our first 3 or 4 viewers right now. It's probably going to be a quiet podcast tonight on account of the game.
Oh, yeah.
And also the fact that I haven't done this for a little while. 100% certain of that last bit.
Oh, well, last week you had a work. I mean, you can't do anything about work emergencies, and believe me, I know all about those.
No, it's been pretty rough. I actually had one this weekend, too. I just didn't have to stick around quite as long, which was nice.
Nothing like getting a crash report at 3 o'clock in the morning. Let me tell you.
I completely understand. 5:45 was the biggest one at the office for us. Okay, everybody knows that we are online. We'll give them just another minute or two to go ahead and get started. Then we'll do the intro. I gotta sort out all these cards over here because we got people drinking alcohol and things like that on this podcast. And would you say you're drinking a hard seltzer or just a regular seltzer?
No, just a regular old sparkling water.
Regular old sparkling water. Okay, now that Bud Light seltzer that they were advertising on the Super Bowl, and it just looks so awful. Everything about it looks awful. It's mere existence.
I've tried some of the other like hard seltzers, like Truly and White Claw, just because they'll buy it at the office sometimes, and I do it, and I'm just like, well, what's the point?
I don't really get it. I mean, I see what Bud Light's trying to do over here. Bud's trying to get in on the market there, but they haven't really figured out beer yet, so I'm not confident in them making seltzer water.
Now, I'll be fair here. Most of my family is from St. Louis, so I'm not a big drinker. Like, when we met up over in New York, that was probably the first beer I'd had in 6 or 7 months.
There you
No
go.
joke.
No worries. Glad to be your first one. in quite some
Yeah,
time
I
anyway.
just like staying sharp.
There you go. That's the smart thing to do. All right, well, we're rolling up on the 7 o'clock hour. I think we got as much social media out there as we could. Let's see. Actually, you can even post it. I think you can even post it in the MyVegas group. I don't think Chong would mind.
Oh, not at all. I mean, this is obviously Vegas related, and MyVegas related in specific. So
give them a heads up too. Let them know that we're live. I might do that real quick. Here, let me get back to Facebook over here before we really get started, and then people can just go ahead and stream with us. It'll be a good time if they're not watching the game. It's looking to get a little more interesting right now.
I wasn't even sure if the game was still being played.
Yeah, it's still on. It's still on, but we're getting there. All right. Anyway, though, welcome to the hashtag Vegas Video Podcast. It's your host Ace of Vegas here, and I'm joined with my boy Justin. Justin, say what's up, everybody.
Hi.
That works too. All right. So what are we gonna go ahead and talk about today, Justin? We got a little bit of a show planned, right?
Oh yeah. We planned this. Well, we were talking about this back in December, right around Christmas time, right?
Yeah, right. Weekend before Christmas, we were talking about it. Got the wives together. Actually, I think Laura came through with us too, another one of our friends for the group, and we were talking about doing this for a little while, and we finally gotten around to it because work and holidays and such.
Yeah, and that's end of the year, start of the year, it's always the worst. Where were we? We were at 9 Fine Irishman, right? In New York.
NFI, the NYNY. That's the way to do it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's we stayed there actually that weekend. We were there for 3 nights.
Yeah, because you guys stayed for a full week or something like that, right?
That's right. Thursday to Thursday. We left the day after Christmas.
Okay, there you go. So yeah, you guys were there. I remember you told me that I had missed something by a hair, and I can't remember what it was.
Was it the street show on the Link Promenade?
Yeah, I think it was that. Yeah, because I think we missed it by an hour or something like that. It was pretty close. Just had too much packed into the trip.
Right. Well, you did a Thursday to Sunday this time around, right?
I think it was. No, I think we were only in town for a couple days. We only went Friday to Sunday. I think it was a pretty short trip. I got another one planned for the birthday coming up here. I think I'm gonna meet up with Hog and 2 Cent and Pennies for Vegas, aka Mark Anderson. So when they inevitably come in to hear the replay, there's that shout out right there.
Right on.
So spoilers for future episodes right there, but they haven't been written yet.
I think you're supposed to say spoiler before you say the thing, but
that's not how things work around here. All right. Well, yeah. Let's go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes things over here. So first things first. So yeah, we got my boy Justin rolling in over here from the hashtag Vegas in the hashtag Vegas podcast, and wanted to go ahead and say hi. So here's a picture of us at NFI, actually from that trip we were just talking about a little while ago. So a picture of us.
Oh my.
Not sure why I did that. I probably should have got a picture of the wives, put them up instead. They're much prettier than we are, if you ask me.
Way more photogenic. I'm surprised I didn't break the lens.
Oh, no, we did pretty good. I thought we did pretty good. It was a good time.
Yeah,
that
was the first time I've been there, actually, before.
Yeah, love that place, honestly. I kind of missed the reward for it. There used to be a great reward. It was a $50 credit or something crazy like that, so you could actually get a full dinner and beers and all that there.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, what I used to do is I'd combine that credit with the piano bar credits, which was a $50 drink credit right there, which I thought was a pretty good deal too. So then you just get shots of Fireball over the what was it? The piano bar over in New York Times Square, because that seemed like a good idea when I was 24. That's just a thing to do.
Yeah, actually, that bar was under construction this last trip too.
Yeah, a lot of stuff was. We wanted to go to Camelot Steakhouse and just unfortunately couldn't, just because we had the credit and everything for it too, but they were doing the refresh for the time. So it is what it is. That's just what happens when you come during a holiday. So
yeah,
it's all right.
Yeah, and we were over at Binion's on Fremont, and we had anticipated, we wanted to go to the steakhouse, and that was closed down too for remodeling as well.
Yeah, the only steakhouse we could find that was open was Aria's, Gene George, and it was a little overpriced, but we had a room credit anyway, so I thought it was worth it. I think it was $50 or something like that.
Well, we're on the topic of restaurants. I still haven't been to Hash House Go Go.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that one next trip too. There's so many restaurants and so many things I just have on this list and all that. So between the two of us, we're
Oh
gonna have
yeah,
to check them all out. All right.
yeah. I mean, we've been 3 times now. We still have a list of things we haven't done or seen.
Yeah, probably. I mean, shoot, I've probably been to Vegas 22 times already. I still haven't done everything yet. So, yeah, I think you guys have only, as viewers, only been with me on like 3 or 4 trips.
28. Wow, that's a lot of Vegas. But
I like to
the
go to
thing
Vegas.
is, you keep going back as you keep. I mean, it's different every time, right?
There's always something new. That's the best thing about Vegas. There's always something new. It's always changing. And actually, we're going to talk about that a little later on in the show. But while we're on the subject of things and what brings everybody together, the MyVegas slots, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about that there. So, here's a cool thing that Justin actually told me. He told me that he knows how slot machines work. Those things over there, the 88 Fortunes, the 4 Wonder slots, and even MyVegas slots and Wynn slots. He told me how that works, and you said that you kind of knew some secrets about him, and I wanted to talk to you about that.
Well, I guess you could call it a secret. See, here's the thing. Like, it's not really an industry secret to us what these things are built on top of. Because if you go through the help menu and you hit the help button and see what all the, what everything that what wins and what doesn't and what pays out and what doesn't pay out. If you scroll back far enough, you'll eventually see a little logo, a little white and black logo that says Unity, because most of the video machines anyway, and sometimes even the newer mechanical ones that are half mechanical and half video, they're built on usually the same thing. They're all based off the Unity game engine.
Off the Unity game engine. All right. Well, let's go ahead and back up a little bit. So just so is that how a slot machine works? Like, how does a slot machine work, or at least ones that you work with and develop for?
Well, no, I haven't built one personally. Unfortunately, the stuff that I do is far more mundane. I assure you.
Right.
Well, not mundane, but I mean, it's not as flashy as a slot machine.
Ah, definitely. But you got a general idea. So basic run through. Same thing I've talked about on the channel too, but you know how it goes. Let's know how it works.
Okay, so basically all the machines work the same way. And if you start to think you're noticing a pattern on a machine, you're not. That's just because our brains, we as a species, we are built to detect patterns, to find a pattern, to find organization within chaos. But there is no pattern for these things. Maybe the old mechanical ones where they're not actually slot machines per se, because like the old slot machines, they had literal slots that pieces of metal would slide into, and if they matched up three of the right places, there you get your win of varying degrees, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But these machines are constantly generating random numbers. Now it doesn't matter if you're a class 2 or a class 3. Class 2, if you're not familiar with that, is like the bingo style machines, which you typically find like at least in where I live in northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin area, you primarily see the class 2 machines at the Indian casinos, which we go to all the time.
Right.
I mean, they're great. They're great facilities, but that seems to be where we find them most. And this is where what you see on the screen is for entertainment purposes only, and the game result is determined by a bingo card that is somewhere on the machine. So, and they're real common. And actually, I've seen them in Vegas too, so it's not necessarily just the Indian casinos that have them. But the way that these things work is they're generating random numbers constantly, like faster than than any human could, obviously.
So that's what the RNG is. They're just kind of picking a random number out of like it's like right. 1 to 99, and then it just decides 7 or 7 again, or if I feel like it, it'll be 18. Just doesn't actually matter what happens on the screen.
Right. So, and then that would be, I believe, what they call a class 3 machine, where it goes purely off RNG, and then the bingo games are class 2. But anyway, at the core, however, they both operate the same way in that there's a random number being generated somewhere, be it on the device itself or elsewhere. But essentially, because it's just constantly generating random numbers, when you hit the play button is when it decides to pay out.
Okay.
So whether or not you have the card of the machine, or whether or not you're touching the screen or touching the reels, none of that matters, because it all goes based off of what number you grabbed out of the sequence of numbers it was generating while you were playing the game.
So really what you got to do, you got to have like amazing timing to make that sort of thing work, right?
But even then, timing doesn't matter, because you don't know what the sequence is, or how quickly or how slowly, because sometimes, like when I think about when I create a sequence that generates a random number, I can put a delay in there.
Okay.
Or maybe not. Or maybe the delay is random. Or maybe the delay isn't random. Maybe it's a sequence. I mean, there's an infinite number of possibilities that could change how the randomization works. So timing doesn't really matter. Chances are, if you stop the reels, or what it looks like you stop the reels, the decision was just made early. And the decision that what you got on the screen has already been made. You just got it early.
All right. Good deal. Good deal. So it's just all right. So it's not even that important. Timing's not even that big a deal.
Nope. And essentially, when you see like a machine, when they advertise it, it has X many percentage payout, right?
Right.
You'll say a 98% payout. Well, that's over the entire life of the machine in most cases. And while in other cases, it could be based off of the entire life of every machine that machine is talking to. Like, say you've got, I don't know. What do I see on screen? 88 Fortunes, right?
88 Fortunes.
Well,
let's go ahead and talk about that one.
Sure.
Oh, JR, no spoilers, man. JR jumping in the live chat. It's all dumb luck. No spoilers. We're trying to break this down to a scientific level, man.
So those 488 Fortunes could be talking to each other. Or they may not be. And they could also be talking to a server that could also be responsible for its random number generation. Or they may not be. Because every machine has a bunch of different variations thereof. So when people say they've got a system for slot machines, they don't.
They don't. It's just that
they think they do.
They show up and they happen to have a system that happens to be working for that particular random number at that particular time, basically, right?
Yeah. So I remember once I was, and this is maybe a bad example, but it stuck with me when I read it. And I remember once I was. Gosh, this makes the existential dread kick in. But I was on the World of Warcraft forums about 10 years ago, because I've been playing the game since 2004.
Okay.
Yeah, that's does not sound as good as it does in my head.
I completely understand. I play SWTOR myself. I've got a fun little April Fool's video ready for that one over there. Spoilers, but you guys will find out eventually.
Nice. Nice. So, but one of the Blizzard devs had chimed in because someone was complaining on the forums about random numbers. Mm-hmm. And he said, random is random is not fair.
Pretty much, yeah. No, it's just like real life. There's no thing. I mean, there are patterns here and there, but it's if you, what's the joke? Chaos theory, I think is the thing. That they're talking about in Jurassic Park. It's all everything looks like it might be predictable, but you can't predict anything.
Right. So, the author of the American Casino Guide, I forget his name.
I know who you're talking about because he's got a pretty great YouTube channel too, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a little dry, but he's pretty great.
Anyway, he said something on a video once that amused me, and that was the first mistake a slot player makes is they play slots. And I mean, that's the thing you got to know is like, no matter what, the house always has the edge. If you think you have a system, you don't have a system. The system's all in your head, and that's the thing. Like the same goes for these slot apps that we enjoy so much that earn us these comps. Is they function largely the same way. And so here's the thing: Unity introduced a thing a while back.
Oh, actually, here let's go ahead and pause here just real quick. Sorry to throw you off a little bit, but for everyone that's joining, so we talked about RNG, we talked about how slot machines work, and you mentioned the Unity engine. What is Unity for those of us that aren't super tech savvy? Like, what does that mean? Like, I hear about game engines, I hear about the Unreal Engine and crazy things like that, but I don't know what that means in English.
Okay, let me see if I can turn this from nerd into normal human, because I am most certainly not. A game engine is essentially an editor that allows you to create other things. It's a program that allows you to create other programs. In this case, games. Okay. Now, I use Unity professionally in ways that are not necessarily gaming related, but it's allowed. So, like, you could, for example, what was done in Unity most recently? Gosh.
Well, let's talk about something we're familiar with. I mean, I think we had talked about Binions, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but let's talk about Binions and Four Queens.
I did a little research into that actually. So if you've pulled down the Binions app on your phone, and you've maybe pulled down Comp City or Four Queens, and you've gone into their gaming areas, you may notice that they're really, really similar.
Never noticed ever. Nope, never heard of that.
Oh man, they are virtually identical. And that's because they've all bought into this thing by a company called, what is it? Oh my God, I forget the name exactly, so I have to I'm going to load up the app real quick just so I can look at it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Here we are. Lots of dead air. This is great radio.
Right, there you go. Talking about the Four Queens cut and paste job. Film at 11.
So it's down at the bottom of the Binion startup screen. There in the lower left-hand corner, it says copyright 2017 free slot games of Las Vegas. Right. Now, if you go into Four Queens, or if you go into Comp City, you're going to see the exact same thing. So I started looking around for this template, because it is a template, and I couldn't find it. But then I realized what they're doing is they're essentially buying an existing package from this free slots of Las Vegas company,
okay,
of which I could find very little information about. So it looks like this company has a slot app that they've built that they simply reskin and resell it. Because Comp City, Binions, and Four Queens are the same thing.
So if we're going like real super simple terms over here, it's basically like a candied apple. You still got like a Granny Smith apple under it. It's a question of, do you want to coat it in cherry candy? Do you want to coat it in caramel? Do you want to coat it in the sour candy? Is that basically what's happening here?
Yeah, that's basically it. Take for example, in the Binions app, the very first game, Binions Billions. Yep. Why am I saying that 10 times fast? And then open up Comp City. The very first game on the left is Comp City.
Right.
These are the exact same games. With a different coat of paint, but they're the same game.
Yeah, and even a couple of them are shared. Like there's the Jet Set one. I noticed that's in all three of them, or I guess all two of them, because Comp City's going away. But that's a video for another day.
Oh yeah, you're right. But yeah, it's the exact same thing. So it looks like this company, Free Slots, whatever of Las Vegas, is just reselling this product. Which, I mean, if you're Binions, and Binions is a smaller organization, and you can tell it's kind of a. Now listen, let me preface this by saying I love Binions. I've played tons of games at Binions, and I've redeemed comps there through their app because it's a great place. I've got a Binions coffee cup sitting on my shelf right now, staring at me, just because I love it so much. But it was a cheap way to get into the mobile slot industry. It's the cheapest way to get into and try and compete with MyVegas, which is what they're doing. And it's the same thing Wynn does with their app now. It's the same thing. Now, Wynn actually put enough cash behind it to make their own app, which is great. But if you're Binions and you're a smaller organization, and they are smaller, then maybe you don't have the capital to bring in a bunch of developers and create a custom app from the ground up like Wynn did.
All right, so it's a pretty smart thing to do. It's kind of like I imagine that's why Comp City's going away, is because they didn't actually have the backing of a major hotel organization. I think it was all pretty much just Anthony Curtis behind it, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And that's a shame. I mean, the thing is though, as much as I hate to see Comp City go away, I mean, it is an older app. You can tell by the way it renders on any iPhone from the iPhone 10 and up, any with a newer display type, it doesn't render properly.
Oh god, it doesn't even work on my Galaxy Note 8. My Note 8 doesn't work. That's a 4-year-old phone at this point, or a 3-year-old. I don't know which.
Yeah, I mean, it's an older app, and it probably hasn't seen a refresh in many years. And that here's the thing: when people approach me and say that the dreaded phrase that I hate more than anything you can imagine, which is, I have an idea for an app, I hate that sentence more than anything you can imagine.
And I apologize for those PMs, by the way.
No, it's fine. But it happens sometimes. And 99.9% of the time, I will tell you, no, you don't. It's someone else. Someone else has already done it. They've already done it with more money.
True.
So that's the thing. When it comes to this kind of stuff, it's extremely expensive. And a lot of people don't have any idea how expensive it is to get an app off the ground. Even if you're using an engine like Unity that allows you to And this is why Unity is so important. It allows you to create a single project that you can then export onto an iPhone, onto an Android device, a Windows PC, a Mac
Oh,
OS
so you don't
machine.
need separate development kits because when we were
Correct.
learning a little bit of that back in the day when I was a little kid, trying to get into game development, we found out you needed a kind of a separate development kit to play and this is aging me a little bit, to make one for the GameCube, to make one for the PlayStation, to make one for the original Xbox, and that sort of thing. And
Well, they have what are called software development kits. And Unity, for example, can make games for the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the Switch. And iOS and Android and Windows and Mac OS, all from the same project.
see, that's really great, actually. So that's
Yeah,
why we can get cross-platform stuff like Wynn in MyVegas, and we don't actually absolutely have to have one specific phone, because not only would that be a bad business idea, that would be really annoying for anyone else looking to do that.
correct. And they use Facebook as a way to store your data effectively.
Good
But
deal.
that's how, for example, your loyalty points will share from the mobile app to the Facebook game to another version of the mobile app. It's because they're storing those variables on a third-party server.
That's pretty smart, actually.
Yeah, I mean it's a common practice. I mean, this is the same way. Like if you pick up what game? Let's see, what works on multiple platforms.
MyKonami does. Let's just say MyKonami.
Yeah, sure. MyKonami does the same thing because it's using the Facebook API. I'm sorry, I should define what an API is. API stands for Application Programming Interface, which basically all that means is it's a set of commands that is provided by a third party that allows someone to access it from something else.
Okay.
So, for example, using the Facebook API, I can, from my mobile app that I may be creating, or my mobile game, whatever, I can access a user's Facebook feed. Well, they would enter their credentials and they would access their own feed, but their Facebook feed or their information could be displayed in this app. Or in this case, with MyVegas, when you sign in through Facebook, you're providing your username and your credentials, which means your data is being accessed through Facebook, and then it's brought down and used on the app, and refresh when you earn more loyalty points.
All right. Right on. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying not to get too thick into how the sausage is made here, because believe me, I can ramble about this for days.
Oh no, but it's all good stuff, man. Actually, I really like hearing about it. I'm not sure how everyone else is doing, but I love hearing about the technicals. So, and it's my show, so we're gonna go ahead and hear about the technicals. It's a good time. Well, I got you though. Just a real quick question. So, so we know that payback percentages are based. And here's an interesting thing I didn't know about. I didn't know that all the paybacks were linked together. I didn't know
they
that
could be.
the banks
And
were.
they may
Yeah,
not
you
be.
told me about that, and I thought that was insane. So that affects the payback percentage too. So
And here's the thing. Every once in a while in the news, you'll hear about an application having what's called analytics, right? And all an analytics service does is track how a user uses a product. If you use the Facebook application on your phone, they track literally everything.
I believe it, and that's how they make their money, right?
Right. Precisely. They sell. Remember, if the product is free, you are the product.
Because they'll sell you nonsense later on the back end. Speaking of which, don't forget to donate to Ace of Vegas. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
PayPal is in the description, so it's a super chat. But kidding. Go ahead.
That was smooth. Well played.
All
So,
about timing.
Unity, however, is interesting in that through their own analytics, through Unity's built-in analytics, which allows you to track what users are doing. Now, mind you, the information that these analytics are collecting, they don't collect hard data in that they don't collect your username, or they don't collect your name, address, or any of that identifying information. All I see on my side are that X many users did this, X many users did that. I can determine how many users from exist from a certain geographic location. So, for example, I know how many users I have in North America, how many I have in, even get a little more granular than that. I can see my Canadian users, my U.S. users, my Mexican users. I could see where they are in Europe, if they're in Europe, and how many are from what part of Europe, or Russia, or China. So these analytics are very, very broad. They don't collect specific information, at least they're not supposed to.
Right.
But anyway, Unity, however, has an extra little thing called remote settings with their analytics, which means that without recompiling, without updating the app, I can change certain things about the app remotely.
Wait.
And
So what you're trying to tell me is that you can control the game or whatever application it is from wherever you are in the world and change the attributes.
well, take for example the Wynn app. Now, recently with the Wynn app, we've seen what was the game? Egyptian Magic
Oh,
go
Rip
up and down
Egyptian
the same
Magic,
day.
such a good game.
I have it playing on my iPad right now. Got to get those gems.
Mm-hmm.
So that game, they turned it on and off on the same day. Now the update to turn it on, that was a pushed update, and that's fine. But if you noticed, that afternoon they turned it off, but there was no update. Right? And what they're doing there is they're using Unity's remote settings to turn the on status of that game off, basically. So they can modify little variables like that. The remote settings doesn't allow you to, for example, do anything major. So you can't push like a graphical update through remote settings, but you can change a trigger. You can change an integer value or a float value or a Boolean, which is true or false value.
So something like a payback percentage or something like that.
If you're hard coding your playback percentage to say all wins must be this percent, you could potentially change that percent, but I don't think their algorithm is quite that simple.
Okay.
I hope not. If it is, they may have bigger problems.
Oh.
But they could change individual variables within the equation that calculates their win percentage, for example. So, and these are features that are built right into Unity. There's nothing special about it. It's just that's an intrinsic part. That's an intrinsic feature of Unity. So, with the apps themselves, it's hard to say what they do because it's very difficult to look at things even underneath the hood and say, this is what's happening guaranteed. Because we don't know, even though we always know that things feel a certain way, but that may just be us trying to find order within the chaos.
Once again, going with the patterns. Okay, that makes sense. All right, well, one last question I got for you on this subject over here. Also wanted to go ahead and open this up to the live chat to see if anyone has any follow-up questions over here before I go nuts with mine over here. So if you guys have any follow-up questions for Justin, go ahead and drop them in the live chat over here. We'll get them worked in. So since you mentioned the remote settings and things like that, let's go ahead and bust the myth. Let's put this one to bed. Does getting a player's card matter in this instance, based on what you know about the engine?
To my knowledge, no, because the only attachment to this game, because here's the thing, like when you redeem a comp in MyVegas, and by now I've redeemed enough that I think I've got the process figured out. The app only sends over whether or not you've redeemed the process. Like you notice, as soon as you redeem the thing, you get kicked over to mlife.com, right? Right. Because that's where the actual transaction takes place.
Absolutely.
Now, you have to have a Players Club card to do that, because when you sign up for mlife.com, even if you don't have a physical card, but you're assigned an mlife number.
True.
So I don't think it does, but at the same time, I've got no way to prove that. Because I don't know exactly what this app is doing to talk to mlife.com.
Yeah, it's probably something complicated on the back end. I mean, would you say even, let's say we wanted to go play, what's on the screen over there, Wonder for a Jackpots. I think that's not a video poker game. No, that's just a slot machine. So let me go ahead and I'm going to put in my MLife Gold card over there. Do you think he'll do better or worse based on that?
Well, the actual machine, I don't think it makes a lick of difference.
Yeah, I've never thought so either. So nothing that as far as you know, with the way the engine works, we're not going to hold you to it. Obviously, you're just a developer. You're not the actual casino company or the actual slot developer or anything like that. But as far as it's not going to make a difference.
Well, I mean, I've watched people get hand pays without a card. I've watched people get a hand pay with a card. And as far as I understand, when all these slot players that are on YouTube, insert your favorite slot player here. There's tons of them out there. I'm not even going to drop any names because there's so many.
Right.
But to the best of my knowledge, they all use their cards when they play.
Makes sense. They can get their comps.
Yeah, sure. I mean, with the amount of money that these guys are putting into these machines, since they do this, some of them do it every day. right? To not use that Players Club card would be foolish because they'd just be throwing away comps.
No, absolutely. No, definitely don't want to do that. And we know all about getting comps around here. So,
And most of them will say, let's go play with this X amount of free play. Well, that free play comes in the card.
Definitely true. All right, nice. Well, now that we're wrapping up,
I don't think the card being the machine makes any difference whatsoever.
Yeah, agreed. Any final thoughts before we go ahead and get rolling?
I still prefer video poker.
Correct. Correct answer.
No, my wife is a big slot player. She has a lot of fun doing it, and that's all that matters, is that she has fun. And it doesn't go crazy. But I love my card games. What can I say?
No, I'm right there with you. The undisputed king of card games is what they used to call me. Well, I don't know, Dark Knight of Domino City. Whatever, that's the joke. All right, but yeah, any final thoughts before we take off? So just that bit. Prefer video poker. Stick with video poker.
That's what the American Casino Guide says anyway.
I'm right there with him. Video poker, blackjack, craps. I'll do that any day. Before we move on to the next segment, Yolo Duran is asking us, is M Life the best, the largest? So that's a complicated question right there. Now, if we're talking about casinos, M Life, yes, in Vegas, on the Strip explicitly, they do have the most real estate. They have a lot of casinos and hotels down there. So if you're looking for that and the most coverage, yes, that would be M Life all day. Now, the best, I don't know, Justin, what do you think? Would you say that they're the best, quote unquote?
In terms of variety, sure. I mean, because you're not just strictly limited to buffets and rooms. The fact you've got access to shows, like the first 2 times we saw Tournament of Kings, we had those shows comped, right, and it was amazing. So I like the MGM package just because they bring shows into it. However, if you're looking for one of the best rooms on the Strip, if not the best room on the Strip, playing the Wynn game and staying at the Wynn is absolutely worth every second that it takes to earn those comps, because the Wynn is amazing. This is not sponsored. I just recently had an amazing experience there, and I absolutely would do it again.
Right on. Yeah, I'd probably say, if we're talking best of the best, I've probably had some pretty great experiences at Cosmo myself right there. If we're talking just all-time, best time ever, probably best time at Cosmo. Treasure Island has been pretty nice, too. I spend the most time...
Treasure Island.
Yeah, I love Treasure Island. I have no idea why they made such a... I think it was like number 9 on my worst casinos list, and I just didn't understand it. That was voted in by viewers and by group members, and I'm like, what? Treasure Island's so cool, though. But, yeah, people just didn't dig it.
I love going to Treasure Island. It is a wonderful experience.
So, I definitely love it. But, I do spend the most time at MGM casinos, and obviously get all my free stuff from MGM, and I show you guys how to get all the free stuff from MGM, so a little bit of a bias there, admittedly, but yeah, definitely good times, and I love Cosmo, especially for the price of it. It's new, it's trendy, it really appeals to me and my generation, and you guys, I'm a filthy millennial, that's just how it is. That's why I have a PayPal tip jar in the description box, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, kidding, joke. It's physically there if you want to, but no pressure.
Hey man, that avocado toast isn't going to pay for itself.
Oh no, $12 a pop, man! I'll tell you, expensive on that Aria tablet over there, which I do have a video about too. And that was like, Jesus, really? Is that what we're paying for? One more from Simon over here. Which Vegas casino have you had the best experience with, regardless of losses and wins? Again, Cosmo is definitely up there in my experience. Signature and MGM Grand, my sister and I went down there. We had a really good times. We had a really good time just going down there. And they comped us pretty nice room too. I did a tour of that on the casino or on the channel too, and then also had a great time at the Level Up Karaoke lounge there, which I also am behind on editing. I have so much footage I'm just sitting on right now that I keep meaning to edit, and I just kind of trickle it out because I'm working other stuff too. So, it's one of those things. What about you? Just
say you have a life outside of this YouTube channel?
A little bit, not much of one, but a little bit.
It's hard for me to narrow down my single best experience with any property, because generally speaking, if you go to any one of these properties or stay at one of these properties on the Strip or Fremont, take your pick, the experience is always top notch. I've never had a bad experience. Um, okay, so maybe at the very first time I went to Vegas, the room key didn't work. We were staying at the Luxor, and it was like a 20-minute walk back to the front desk just because the Luxor is huge. That was the worst experience we had, and that's nothing. But
Oh, and Hagen 2 cent coming through. They found the super chat button. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Can't wait to see you in March. Love these guys over here. Also, I got a podcast. If you guys haven't checked out Hagen 2 cent, you're a fan of my channel, and you haven't checked out these guys over here, you gotta hurry on over. Go ahead and open up a new tab, drop that subscribe over there. Those guys have some of the best vlogs ever. Banter is fun. They're just super chill, and it just feels like you're running around with your friends there. I gotta admit, they are the best. So just FYI, in case you've missed out on that.
I'll have to check that. I haven't actually checked out the channel yet, and I feel guilty because I feel like I should.
Oh, you gotta hurry around and do that.
What better time than now, right?
Yeah, now's a good time to do it. I think Brendan also had a question about meeting the ladies, and Jose had a question about how long to stay. Quick answer on how long to stay. Longest I've stayed is 4 days. I can't stand more than 3 days in Vegas. Just a thing with me. Meeting the ladies, Brendan, I think that's gonna have to be a whole podcast topic. I think I know a guy that I can drag in on this over here. I do know a guy I can drag in on this over here. But that's gonna be a whole podcast in itself. Just saying.
Yeah, I got nothing on that one either.
Yeah, I know. We've been hitched too long, man. It's we're not cool anymore. Not like that.
Totally.
All right.
Now my longest stay has been 7 days, 6 nights, 7 days, 7 days, 6 nights. Yes, Thursday to Thursday anyway, and just the way we handle it, I mean that length is perfect for me because I love just walking around and looking at everything. But I can see how that'd be a little bit much for some people.
Yeah, it's just it just depends on how you do things. I think you can do Vegas I know some folks over in the UK and other foreign national entities like to stay for 2 weeks just on holiday because they've got 2 weeks of paid holiday, or they'll spend they'll spend a week in Vegas and then run around the rest of the US for the rest of the week and all that, but they'll just they'll spend 2 weeks here and they just do a little bit at a time.
Sure,
it's all about pacing.
Yeah. And that's the thing, we have a fairly rigid schedule when we go. So even though we're there for, a week at a time, we still have every day planned out. Yeah. And when you do that and you don't just approach it haphazardly, I think that makes a big difference.
Very much so. Very much so. JR's got a little tip over there too. Look lonely and sit at the casino bars. Ladies will find you. Well, you're not wrong. I think single me had just only met women in Vegas while doing non girl hunting things, so to speak. I think I'd do things like, hey, you know what? I am running. I can't drink all the shots over here. You guys want to go ahead and burn up the rest of this credit for me? I'm out. And they're like, no, stay with us. We'll go ahead and help you drink it. Or alternately, it'd be something like, what was it? Karaoke night or something like that. Just something off kilter, because that's just kind of the type of guy I am, off kilter, and that's how I met my current spouse right now. Is because we like Star Wars, and that's just kind of a thing with us. So that's how I do it. That's how I always did it when I was single, and that's why I live with a pretty girl now. So that helps, if that helps anyone.
Yeah, I'm just naturally awkward, so it's hard to not be that way.
Right. Oh no, it'd be like that, man. But yeah, nothing I'd sweat. Nothing I'd sweat there.
Oh no. I learned to accept it many years ago.
Nice. All right. Well, while we're talking here, let's go ahead and talk about something a little more controversial. You want to get controversial in here?
Oh, absolutely.
Let's get
controversial.
controversial.
When that was gonna hit.
Oh yeah, it's going down right now. So everyone's familiar with the classic Vegas slogan, "What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas," that I have some kind of qualms about, but we'll talk about that later. Here's the new action right here. What happens here only happens here, Las Vegas. What do you think of the new slogan?
Does it, though?
I mean, I guess that's a good question. Let's analyze that. Let's also open this up to the live chat if anyone else wants to go ahead and chime in on this. But Justin, I'm going to ask you first. So, you like the slogan, don't like the slogan, and why?
So, okay, I don't dislike it. I just kind of like the old one better, and maybe, and not that I'm saying that's just because I'm afraid of, I'm afraid of change. That's not it at all. Um, but more, let's take a step back and look at this from the 30,000-foot view.
Okay.
If you look at more and more states now have legalized gambling, legalized what I like to call like terrestrial gambling that's not on a riverboat, right?
Right, or in an ocean.
Right. So you've got land-based casinos now, more and more in more and more states. Where I live here in Northern Illinois, they're putting in a Hard Rock, and it's going to be a full Hard Rock experience. Phase 1 will be a fairly large casino. Phase 2 will be the hotel. It's a pretty big deal, and they're putting it right off the highway. And we have, although we have a river that runs through the area, and it's nowhere near as big enough to support a riverboat, but this is going to go right off the highway, right?
Right.
And if I go up to Milwaukee, for example, and we do once in a while, Potawatomi in Milwaukee, that is a huge resort, and that is as big as any one. Well, not maybe necessarily like any one, but that could easily fit in the Strip in Las Vegas in terms of size, scope, and capacity,
right?
And number of games and the shows they have. I saw Carrot Top there when he was on a break from the Luxor. I saw Carrot Top at Potawatomi in May of last year. It was amazing. So in that regard, what happens here only happens here until it doesn't.
Right.
I mean, you have to refresh things every once in a while. My own company went through a rebranding in 2017, late 2017, early 2018, and we changed everything because sometimes you just have to do that. And if Vegas is nothing at all, then okay, I'm going to phrase that. The one thing that Vegas is, for all the things that it isn't, it is dynamic. It is always changing, right?
Yeah, well, very much so. No, that's definitely a constant I've noticed. Let me let you go ahead and finish, and I'll go off on my rant right after that too.
Oh yeah, I mean, look at right across the street from the Wynn. You've got Resorts World, and was that? I think it's a former Riviera site. Is what that?
I think it was. It was at one point.
Yeah, but I mean, the Strip is constantly changing. Fremont is constantly changing. It's different every time we've gone. And in that regard, maybe a rebrand's not a bad idea for a few years.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at this point, I'm not sure if anyone else here is a member of the MyVegas Gifts Guides and Giveaways group, but that's been a popular subject in... Actually, no, let me be honest. It's been a popular subject in every single Vegas group I've been in. And I've said the exact same thing every single time. Okay. And here's what I've said. Nothing in Vegas is a monument. There is virtually nothing that your grandfather went to Vegas and you went to Vegas. You had a completely different experience. And I think that's a good thing. Because you know what? My Vegas is different from, not my Vegas slots, but my personal Vegas is different from your personal Vegas. Different, it's all like kind of a relative sort of thing. And it has to change to reflect an individual. Like, some people are like, oh, it's all gambling and things like that. That's why my spouse, she never wanted to go. I took her there for our first anniversary. We just thought it'd be kind of a fun thing to do, and she was just astonished. She didn't know that there was an aquarium in the hotel we were staying at. She didn't know about the volcano. She didn't know about the Bellagio fountain. The first thing she wants to do anytime we go now is drag me down to the Bellagio fountain, day or night, doesn't matter. She wants to see like 2 or 3 shows over there because she just loves the fountain. Because, it's pretty, it's more natural. We love the idea of Mount Charleston. She's a little more outdoorsy. She likes kind of the natural sort of stuff. She's not a big drinker, big smoker, or anything like that. So that's kind of a thing for her. I mean, even just look at the Strip. Nothing's still there. The Sirens of Treasure Island, that's been gone for like 7 years now. It's insane. And, like I said, nothing in Vegas is a monument. It shouldn't be a monument at all. I don't think it should be. I think it should be just kind of a reflection of American consumerism and party culture and relaxation culture, spa culture, whatever it is at the time. It's just a reflection of culture. Now, as far as the new slogan, what happens here only happens here, I can kind of see what they mean. Like, the general idea is like you can only do this sort of stuff here. Like, yeah, you can gamble, and you guys have seen me put up some gambling videos of Blackhawk. I can go up the highway, up the hill to Blackhawk, but Blackhawk closes basically at midnight. I went up there for a friend's birthday, actually, pretty recently in October. Shout outs to Robert if you're listening. But no, we went up there for October. We went to go have some drinks. I think my brother went to bed or whatever. It was just kind of a thing. And another one of our friends, he just kind of went to bed. And we were like, hey, let's go get some drinks, boys. Let's go look at girls, whatever. It was his birthday. We are trying to get him to meet somebody. Everything was done at 12. It's not like Vegas where everything's 24/7. It doesn't work the same way. It's not, and it's not quite the same. Like, you can't wander into a limo, go to a shooting range, come back, and then go to the spa promptly afterwards, then have a dinner at a steakhouse and stay out until 6 in the morning, just drinking at a cigar bar or whatever while you're doing your sports book. There's just no level of eclectic, just insanity that you can have anywhere else aside from Vegas. Maybe Macau, but they're more gambling based, and I haven't been to Macau, so I don't have a stand by. But Vegas is the entertainment capital of the world, and it's there for a reason. Just my thoughts.
I mean, okay, yeah, I guess I had not thought of it in that way. Sure, we've got the casinos here that are open 24 hours a day, but that's just gaming, right?
It's just gaming. There's more to Vegas than gaming. You know.
Oh, absolutely. Once again, Tournament of Kings, not sponsored, but I love it.
All right,
we go every time.
Good times. You don't have a Tournament of Kings at Isle of Capri Casino, your local Isle of Capri or whatever. It's not there.
Oh, now we do have Medieval Times near Chicago.
Right, that's great. See, we don't have that in Colorado. It's weird. We don't have that. We have a great Renaissance fair. That's actually I met my daughter's mother. Well, basically how we met. But no, that's we have a great Renaissance fair, but we don't really have anything cool like that back just back home here.
Well, and I'll be fair, like the medieval times we have here in Schaumburg, it's good. Don't get me wrong, it's really good, but man, it's no Tournament of Kings, that's for sure.
No, I mean, fireworks. Enough said, man.
Yeah. Well, on their Christmas show, holy cow, the Tournament of Kings Christmas show, wow. That's all I gotta say is wow.
Should have got tickets for that. Let's talk about the old slogan though. So JR kind of jumped into my point a little bit with social media. Nothing stays in Vegas anymore. That may have been part of the reason the change. What do you miss the old slogan? I mean, you said it fit a little better. Like, how do you feel about that?
I think, yeah, with social media, nothing stays in Vegas anymore. That is so true. It's painful to think about it, I mean, you think about, and I know this is not the greatest example, but think about just a couple of weeks ago, they had that event at the mall across the street from the Wynn, right?
Right.
I mean, that sucks. No one ever likes to see that kind of thing, but that was all over social media the moment it happened.
Oh, absolutely, and as was the really big one a couple of years ago. We all know what we're talking about there. And, moment of silence for that. But yeah, no, you're 100% right. No, I mean, even the negative stuff gets out there.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't think there is a way to keep something, there's no way to make something stay in Vegas anymore. It's just impossible. And then even if you want to forget about the money you lost, at the end of the year, the respective casino that you gambled at will send you a win-loss statement through email. It's like it's going to come back and haunt you no matter what.
Yeah, that's another thing too. I mean, I remember, and at this point, everyone just kind of makes fun of it. I remember Piers Morgan was, he made some jokes about it in his little special and all that. Everyone kind of makes a "what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas" joke, except for pregnancies, whatever. I've heard that joke a couple times, or there's always the STI joke, all that jazz. See, my thing is, yeah, definitely what happens in Vegas doesn't stay in Vegas because. I mean, it doesn't suit that anymore, because I think that's probably why some of the YouTube channels, like why Vegas tubing has become so big. It's been blowing up. A lot of people have been getting into the niche, and everyone just loves getting their Vegas. I guess the whole idea is, it is supposed to only happen there, which is why people love to do this stuff online, love to check this out online. Like, this is why we have 3,000 fan following right now. I think this is.
Congratulations on that, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. No, it's all thanks to you. It's all thanks to you and everyone else that comes in and shoots the shit with me every week. It's a good time. I really appreciate you guys. Like, you have no idea.
Well, I mean, you're entertaining, so you got that going for you. No, no. I mean, seriously though, your videos really are great. I'm not gonna, sit here and toot a horn or anything, but I think we all come back just for that very reason. The videos are just that good.
My man Justin, everybody, just round of applause right there. But yeah, it's such a huge thing. Like, I saw this young lady, I think Las Vegas with a net. She's coming up right now. I think she picked up like 1,000 subscribers last month because she's just out there killing it, and she was doing just because people love the Vegas. So, and I think it's because showing off all these great things that can only happen in Vegas, and that's why I have the following I do, because I'm like, hey, you know what? There are lots of great things that you can only get in Vegas. Let me go ahead and show you how to get them for free, because you can't go downstairs to a shark-infested aquarium like in your hotel. Like, you can almost get it. Like, when I went to Mall of America, went to the Sea Life there. That was pretty close. That was pretty neat.
Yeah, and you know what? We've been to the Mandalay Bay Aquarium twice now, and it is absolutely incredible. It's not tremendously big, but it's amazing.
Yeah, it's great. It's very well done and all that. And how many other places, like, you can't go to like a Holiday Inn and then go downstairs and there are just tigers and dolphins there. Like, where else does that happen? So I'd say it's pretty accurate. The problem I have with the slogan is, and correct me if I'm wrong, what happens here only happens here. That's not snappy. That doesn't flow off the tongue. That's hard to say.
It does feel a little ham-fisted, doesn't it? It's not. It doesn't quite have the same flow as the old one used to.
Right, and I guess it depends on how long you've been saying it too. I mean, maybe it's just because it's new, but I used to, I'll say things like, "What's up, my spinners and sharks? Ace of Vegas here. Hope you're doing well." That kind of works for me. I've been saying that for a while there.
Sure.
Spinners and sharks, and there goes my mic. Spinners and sharks works for me. And what else works? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but that's always what they've called it as far back as I can remember.
Well, I mean, the old slogan became a meme before we were identifying things as memes.
Right, this is true. Yeah, it was just, that was how it was.
It became this almost, and I don't know if this is necessarily the best way to call it, but it became like a cultural phenomenon in terms of how it integrated into the average person's everyday lexicon, right?
Right.
And it became an excuse in some capacities for doing bad things or things that would be construed as bad under normal circumstances.
Right, and it works. Like Sin City, that's a whole shtick right there, isn't it?
Right, and it kind of alluded to the, and I don't know if I want to call it this, but I will anyway, the seedy underbelly of Vegas without necessarily directly mentioning said seedy belly.
Right, definitely.
Right.
No, I feel
and
that.
I think that it kind of had like this, this whole temptation, if you will, element to it, and I think that's what made it work so well.
Right.
Now this kind of goes in that direction, but it's certainly tame compared to, the previous slogan.
Yeah, I think it's kind of straddling that. You can only do what happened. You can only do stuff around here, so it kind of still has that kind of party sort of energy to it, but it's almost a little more family friendly. It kind of feels like they're trying to.
It is.
Push back a little bit, like another 20, 30 years back. Like, you remember in the 90s when, what was the movie? Las Vegas Vacation came out with Chevy Chase.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Vegas Vacation, and he was making fun
97, I believe?
Yeah, I think so, and he was basically the movie was making fun of how Vegas is a family destination, we thought it was a parody at the time, and it actually turned out that Chevy Chase could predict the future. Because they pulled back on that real quick somewhere in the early 2000s, I remember.
Yeah. And it turns out if you go to a Vegas buffet and say the phrase, "I'll have some of the yellow," they don't like that very much. Don't ask me why I know that.
Couldn't imagine why. You must have done that at the Luxor.
Yeah, they might have been at the Luxor buffet, actually. No, actually, it was MGM Grand. They were definitely at MGM Grand.
Okay.
Based off my last
Do we want to talk about MGM Grand? Can we talk about MGM Grand?
I want to preface this by saying I love the MGM Grand. All right, the hotel, the casino is so big, it's mind-boggling just how big that casino is. When you think you've seen it or seen all of it, you're wrong. You haven't seen all of it. You're still missing a wing, maybe two. It's a huge casino, and they've got one of my favorite games. Again, like I don't play a lot of slot games. I mostly just watch.
Right.
They have one of my favorite, if not my most favorite slot game in all of existence, which is Paradise Fishing. It's an older one, and it takes up a lot of space, so few casinos have it anymore. But it's my favorite, and they have it there. It's been there for years, and I don't think because people generally play it. And the MGM Grand's a great place to go. They got a lot of fun stuff to do, but their casinos, but their buffet is trash. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna hold back. Their buffet is absolutely the worst buffet I've ever been to. And like it makes old country buffet look like a feast of
Oof.
epic proportions.
Oh, I felt that in my colon just now, man. Don't, ouch.
Yeah, listen. Again, I love the MGM Grand. It's got history, it's got aesthetics, it's got a casino you just can't beat. But their buffet, and I only say this as constructive criticism, their buffet needs work. They need to pay some attention to the buffet. It is absolutely the worst one I've ever been to.
So it's a damn shame too. I bet you that's why Mirage discontinued the free drinks and moved those over to MGM, because Mirage used to had a pretty decent buffet. The carvery was the best part. Carvery and the fresh stuff was always the best part. But
it's still not bad. We went there for a lunch buffet while we were there over on Christmas.
Yeah, it's definitely still not bad, but I think my favorite part was always the fact that they had unlimited drinks and all that. So while I was there, I get as much beer and wine as I could physically drink, and being like 26, it was quite a bit. So that's why it was.
I'm sure there are many
favorites.
Awesome things you don't remember because of that.
Oh, absolutely, definitely. No, I've got so many fuzzy memories I don't even have pictures of, and I just kind of wish I had pictures of those fond memories. But it is what it is.
Well, in this last trip, we used a bunch of MyVegas comps and buffets. We went to MGM Grand, Mandalay Bay, Mirage, and the Palms. The Palms was not a comp, but it was good, very good actually, surprisingly good. But Mandalay Bay was all right. Mirage was pretty good, not any better than Mandalay Bay, but it was better than. I mean, basically everything is better than MGM Grand.
Gotcha. Kicking the shin is better than MGM Grand, really. That's what you're telling me.
It very much pains me to say this because I love that hotel. I really, really do. I think it's amazing. And everything about it is amazing except for their buffet.
All right. Well, that's okay. We'll just do the karaoke instead. DJ Scooby, representing.
All right. I mean, yeah, then maybe go down to White Castle, a little further up the strip, problem solved.
There you go. Easy fix. Nice.
They got a Chick-fil-A there now, I think, I hear, on the strip.
I think I heard about that. I don't know. I know that the boss lady's vegetarian, so I don't do a lot of Chick-fil-A or a lot of fast food restaurants. They're typically pretty meat heavy, so
I'm a meatitarian, so I tend to, eat the food that it was once alive.
Oh yeah,
I
love me some bacon, but I love her more, so I'm a little more willing to be flexible. So that's just where I've got.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, don't tell her that a personal slogan of mine is vegetables are what food eats.
Fair enough.
Wait.
No, that's a funny thing about her, actually, too. She's actually really picky with the vegetables. So, again, this stays on the podcast. What happens in Vegas only happens in Vegas, but what happens on hashtag Vegas Podcast stays on hashtag Vegas Podcast, even though it's posted all over the internet.
Yeah, I was going to say. Wait, is she listening right now?
Oh, probably. we live in the same house. She can hear me.
Why do I hear somebody sharpening a knife?
Oh yeah,
that's a weird noise.
Yeah, that's a normal Sunday around here. That's how that works.
Okay, just don't want to get shanked is all. That's just.
Don't worry. I don't think she can reach you through the computer.
Sweet. You never know, man. You just never know.
Right. Nice.
No, I mean the thing is though, like, but even when you get past the buffet, like the buffet is one thing, but the MGM Grand is still a great property regardless.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Still one of the largest in the world, as it turns out.
Yeah, I believe that is the largest casino in the world. I think.
Oh, all right, good deal. Yeah, I know it's up there. I think Venetian is currently the record holder.
Oh, is it?
I think Venetian in Macau. Let me see, top 10 large. I should just go ahead and make a video about this too. I'm sure there's one out there. I just don't really want to deal with it.
I do know that intersection of Excalibur, New York, MGM Grand, and Tropicana, that is the largest intersection for hotel rooms on the planet.
I believe it. Oh,
Like, there are
actually,
more hotel rooms.
here, I found it. I got on the wikis. So it looks like after their expansion, the First World Hotel, and that's a literal name right there, by the way, in Malaysia, has 7,351 rooms. And that beats out Venetian Las Vegas, which is the Venetian in the Palazzo, by the way, which have just under 7,100 rooms. And MGM Grand Las Vegas, with the signature, so the whole complex, has 6,852 rooms.
That's still so many.
So more rooms than you'll ever need.
Yeah.
And the place is way too big.
I was wrong. The largest casino on the planet is the WinStar World Casino in Thackerville, Oklahoma.
Thackerville where?
600,000 square footage of gambling.
What do you do with that? How much money can you lose there? Why?
All the money, Ace. All the money.
All the money ever.
Yes.
That is astonishing.
You know, at the end of Vegas vacation, I kind of lost $22,000. Yeah, that's basically like every day there.
Seems legit.
600,000 square footage of gambling. That's insane.
Well, that's probably why what happens there only happens there, because that's where you leave all your money, so nothing else can happen ever.
Yeah, wow.
Makes perfect sense now. All right, good deal. We're at the top of the hour right now, so any final thoughts before we go ahead and let you guys go back to the Super Bowl, which is pretty much over right now. So I'm sure the replay traffic is going to go through the roof. There's only like a minute and a half left in the game. So yeah, final thoughts. What do you think? What happens here only happens here. Yay or nay?
I'm gonna go with yay. I mean, it's more tame, it's family friendly, but you know what? It is essentially true. I guess at the end of the day, they're not wrong. Yeah, that's the most I can say about it. Is you're not wrong.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna agree with you here. Hate to be the echo chamber, but yeah, definitely gonna be right there with you. The only thing I don't like about it is it's really hard to say. What happens here stays here. It doesn't sound. It doesn't taste good. It's correct, and I know it's good for me. You know, it's like, again, it's like vegetables. It's correct, it's good for me. It just doesn't taste that great compared to the bacon. Sure. That is what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
You know, maybe they really want to emphasize the only happens here part, because that's where my eyes I'm instantly drawn to, right? So maybe that's the meme they're trying to create, is it only happens here.
All right, let's go ahead and give the new slogan a shot, guys. Let's just give it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I had a salad once. Crazier things have happened.
There you go. Fair enough. And, you know, you can put bacon in salads, too. So, hey, you know, we'll modify it. And nothing's a monument. Eventually, they're going to change the slogan.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and that's the best way to put it. Nothing's a monument. Just like, you know, how MGM keeps selling off their properties just to lease their properties right back to them. I mean,
that's a video for another day, too. There, I got this mile-long list of videos. I actually seriously have like a 12-page Google Docs document on videos I want to make that I just don't have enough time in the day to do.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and like, I think if we're talking about future videos, I think looking at the M Life credit card would be a decent video to take a peek at, too.
Yeah, I've always wanted to do that. I thought about it. I held off on it because one of my old co-hosts, you guys remember Comps Guy? He used to be really kind of into that sort of stuff, so I always kind of let that be his little shtick over there. Didn't want to step on any toes and all that. But yeah, he retired, so yeah, it might be a good time for me to look into that. Let everyone know what's up.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a sponsored endorsement or anything, but honestly, we signed up for that card we arrived on December 19th. I signed up for it on the December 20th. My trip was instantly better.
There you go. Good times.
Checking in the Bellagio took 2 minutes.
Ooh, that's even better. That's a lot better.
Yeah, that was why it made it better, because checking in took no time at all.
I'll have to write that down.
Hey, anyway, like you said, that's a story for another day, but that was definitely it made our trip a lot better, was signing up for that card.
Nice. All right, we're going to talk about that, but yeah, thanks. Yeah, and so before we go, just want to go ahead and give a mad shout out to Justin over here from Trek.com, TREKK, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, yeah. Right. So if you guys want to go ahead and check out what he does over there, Trek.com, if you ever need like an app built or whatever, do you guys do commissions or nah?
No, we don't.
No.
We don't.
All right, yeah. So if you guys want to go ahead and check out what he does over there, Trek.com, if you ever need like an app built or whatever, do you guys do commissions or nah?
Well, I mean, you come to us an idea and a check. I mean, we'll build just about anything.
All right, there you go. Well, website is in the description box below, so thanks again for doing that. Yeah, unless you got anything else, we'll go ahead and just do the old standard sign-off, right?
Nope, sounds like a winner to me.
All right, cool. Well, thanks again for coming to the #Vegas podcast tonight, guys. This is Ace of Vegas signing off, wishing you strong hands, and, of course, happy spinning. And that's a much better slogan than what happens here. Only happens here. All right, good night, everybody.
Good night.